Hey everybody, how are you? This is Wendy Kim of the Empower Moms Facebook group, and I'm super excited to have my guest, another Wendy, which is very unusual, to have another Wendy, Wendy Goldman. And Wendy Goldman is a licensed acupuncturist. She's passionate about health and wellness. And I wanted to invite Wendy to this group because I know as a busy mom myself, we've got a lot. We're trying to stay healthy ourselves. We're trying to keep our kids healthy. Some of you have considered maybe starting a business related to health and wellness. So I just thought that Wendy would be a perfect person to be a guest on our show. So welcome, Wendy. And
Thank you.
first, just start off telling us a little bit about your story, what you do, and how you got here.
So I'm a licensed acupuncturist. I've done other things in the past. Way back, my first job, I did biomedical research in one of the top medical schools in the country. Then had sort of a twisty path after that. Went back to school, got a business degree, and owned and managed several different businesses. One of them was a gourmet pet food manufacturing company, and that was pretty interesting. And that actually started me on my quest to learn about natural health, because I learned about the ingredients that are added to pet food and human food. And it kind of freaked me out when I started reading labels in the grocery store and finding really toxic chemicals in common food that I was eating. And so that started a long quest to learn about natural health and natural medicine. And eventually I ended up going to Oriental Medical School and becoming an acupuncturist. And I've been doing that for the last 18 years now. And I love it. And my business is Golden and Wellness Center. And it's great. I love helping people.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think in our culture, people are, especially moms, are super busy. We want to eat healthier. We want to eat healthy, but it seems like it's really hard. It seems like it requires a lot of time to meal prep, and maybe like is expensive. Or what would you say to people who maybe feel like it's really hard to eat healthy?
Yeah, those are common complaints because people think they have to shop at Whole Foods or Whole Paycheck, as it's commonly called, right? or they have to prepare these extravagant things with weird ingredients, and that's really not the case. Certainly you can do that, and yeah, eating organic is always a better choice because a lot of fruits and vegetables are heavily sprayed with toxic chemicals, and some of them do cause cancer, and actually wheat now too. But it's really a matter of learning how to make good choices so that whatever situation you're in, if you're busy or you're traveling, it's about making good choices, right? It's choosing McDonald's because you're in a hurry. I know they have those fun places for kids, but that's not really a good choice. And so it's choosing that wherever you end up, if you're eating out, it's about making good, healthy choices with what you've got to work with. As for time, my favorite answer for that, it used to be a crock pot, but now I've graduated to an Instant Pot, which is a pressure cooker. And I love the thing because I'm busy too, and I can come home from the office, throw in really frozen chicken, whatever veggies I have in the fridge, cut them up, throw them in, maybe some chicken stock if I want some rice or beans or lentils or something, throw them all in there, push the button, and walk away, and in 20 or 30 minutes I've got a meal from frozen food. So that's one thing I definitely recommend. A crock pot is a wonderful thing. They're cheap and easy. The Instant Pot has exploded everywhere in the 2 years since I got mine. And I wish I could buy stock in the company because I've told so many people about the Instant Pot because it works so well and so fast. So it's not like the old pressure cookers. So that's two really easy ways if you want to prepare food, which is always cleaner than eating out because you know what's in it. And those are ways to make it easier.
No, that's actually really funny because I have this Korean version of the Instant Pot, but I always forget to use it.
Yeah.
So I thank you for that reminder because I could just probably grab something from my freezer and just throw it in there tonight and answer the question that all moms dread, which is what's for dinner?
Yeah, and the nice thing with a pressure cooker like that, or a crock pot, I'm getting feedback here, I don't know if it's me, is you can prepare enough for several meals, depending on the size of your family, but you may get several meals off of it, and that definitely helps with time and takes some pressure off.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay. So for kids, are there certain things that you would recommend in terms of how to get them to eat healthier or how to help them to develop the habits to make good choices? Because obviously a lot of people, I think, are struggling because maybe they didn't learn that when they were a child.
Yeah, it's a common issue. And we're, it's only in the relatively recent course of human history that we've been able to get food easily and reliably for most of us in most of the world. Mm-hmm. And so we're still hardwired with an ancient instinct to crave fats and things like that taste good, and sugar, which gives us quick energy. And so kids tend to like and want the things that taste good, the sugar and the fat, and a lot of vegetables are kind of bitter, and kids don't like them. So my advice to moms is generally to start them as young as you can and expose them to a wide variety of foods. Give them a lot of different things so they get used to it. Because a lot of people will start them on carbs, which really turn into sugar, and everything we've been told about carbs is wrong. We keep telling us carbs are good, but that's why we have the highest obesity rate in the world in the United States after about 5 Pacific Islands. Really, it's because all of the sugar and carbs. It's not fat. Fat is actually good. So, they tend to eat a lot of carbs and want carbs, and that makes them crave more sweets. So getting some veggies in there, finding ones they like, and just teaching them, that this is food and it's good. A lot of the dark green leafies taste a little bit bitter, and not everybody likes that, but we definitely, as a culture, don't eat enough of them.
Yeah, one of the things that you talked about, and I watched a video that you did recently and really loved it, was this misconception around fats. Yeah. Because growing up, I know I was always told, okay, you need to get low-fat yogurt, you need to get like fat-free this, and now I think like finally people are like, actually that's not bad, but I still think a lot of people still have that ingrained in them, feeling like, oh, fat's not good. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And the video is live on my website at eatrightforever.com. So it's all based on faulty research. I used to do biomedical research for a living. I understand how you do research. There's a guy in the 1950s by the name of Ancel Keys. And incidentally, Western nutrition is really only about 30 years old. The first vitamins were not discovered until the 1950s, and those were vitamins B and C. And in the 1950s, this guy, Ancel Keys, had a theory that eating fat caused heart disease. There was data available for 21 countries that related diet and levels of heart disease in those countries. He cherry-picked the ones that fit his theory. That's not how you do research. You have a hypothesis, you put it out there, you're not supposed to have any attachment to the outcome. You're just, the theory is, the idea is to do pure research to get an answer and find out if you're correct or not. It doesn't matter, you're just gathering information. Well, he was pretty attached to his outcome. And he cherry-picked the countries where the data fit his theory. He deliberately left out France, and West Germany. Germany was split into East and West at that time. There was no data available for East Germany, but he left out Germany and France, which both those countries have diets high in saturated fat and low in heart disease. And in fact, France still has one of the lowest rates of heart disease in the world, despite all the butter and cream in their high-fat diet. So he put it out there. He was an aggressive promoter of his theory. And somehow he got in with the American Heart Association and got them to go on television in 1956 and announce that eating a high-fat diet caused heart disease. Well, in the 1950s, television was pretty new. The family gathered around it, and the American Heart Association going on television in the 1950s and saying that fat causes heart disease was like the voice of God from on high spouting truth. And people took that because people believed what they heard on television. It was a new thing. It was a big deal. Certainly a far stretch from the internet these days. And then, so that got out there. And then he lobbied the federal government. And the first dietary recommendations ever put out were based on his faulty research. France and Germany proved his research was wrong. So the government came out with it. And then, you know, companies started to make products to fit that. You know, if people start to believe that, well, that fat is bad, and you're a dairy farmer and you sell whole milk and nobody wants to buy it, they want low fat or no fat milk, what are you going to make? So it just turned into this whole snowballing effect where more and more companies put out these products because they sold, it self-perpetuated, and it got into this, like a big snowball rolling down a hill. And so it's just gotten worse. And the truth has been out there. Several years ago, the cover of Time magazine had a stick of butter on it, and there was a whole big feature article saying that it was all wrong. But we're still constantly told this because low fat is what sells, because people believe this, even though it's wrong. And there's a ton of good research that shows that we need fat. And there's more detail in that video you saw about that, of how critical it is to our body. Your brain is 70% fat. If you eat low fat, you know, there's people are worried about this epidemic of Alzheimer's. Well, maybe we need to eat more fat.
Yeah, you know? That's true.
It's and really hamburgers, but it's, you know, the way we used to eat.
Yeah, so I will definitely afterwards, if you could put the link in the comments, so people can watch that video. Also, if anyone watching this has any questions for Wendy or comments, please feel free to put them in. Another thing I'm passionate about, do you hear an echo?
No.
Okay. Another thing that I'm passionate about as a mompreneur is entrepreneurship. And I know you said that you've been an entrepreneur for many years. What would you say to someone, or like maybe someone who's considering starting their own business? What would you say are the things you love about entrepreneurship, and then what are some of the things that are maybe more challenging about entrepreneurship?
You know, if you ask any entrepreneur, that answer may vary on any given day. If it's a bad day, they may say, don't do it, run the other way. If it's a good day, they may say, hey, you know, it depends. You know, for me, I love the ability to set my own hours. I'm the boss. And being somebody who's bossy, that's good for me. You know, joking about that. You know, it's I can create it the way I want it. And so that really works for me. Although I did say, and I don't remember who said it, but a year or so ago, somebody on the internet said that entrepreneurs are the only people who will work 80 hours a week so they don't have to work 40 hours a week. And a lot of times that's true. You know, when you're building a business and you're in the startup stage, you have to put in a lot of hours. Certainly if you get stuck in that and you just create yourself a job where you're working those hours and not getting compensated for it, you know, there's clearly something wrong. But, you know, it's a matter of learning how to do business correctly and, you know, how to grow a business without reinventing the wheel. So my suggestion is to, if you can, get a mentor or follow a system and learn how to do it, because trial and error, why reinvent the wheel? That's something I've learned with age. I used to think I could, when I was young and arrogant, I used to think I could do it better. And, that's just not the case. If there's someone that is doing what you want to do and doing it successfully, model them. I'm not saying copy or steal or do exactly what they're doing, but model their behavior to get their results.
Yeah, no, that's actually why I ended up going into this field, because I banged my head against the wall so many times myself and worked hard and not smart. So I love that advice, because if you can get that expertise from someone who's been through it already, why not, versus getting frustrated and just trying to, like you said, reinvent the wheel. So I think that's brilliant advice. In terms of health and wellness, I know you're an acupuncturist, and there's a certain, I know you had to go to school to do that. What would you say to someone who's considering maybe becoming an acupuncturist, or maybe thinking about getting into the field of health and wellness?
Well, I love acupuncture. Chinese medicine rocks. I'm passionate about it. I absolutely love this stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's a brilliant system of medicine. It's been used for well over 2,000 years. It's throughout China and Asia, and people aren't stupid. If it didn't work, they stop using it. So, we have a long history of use, and it's, people don't realize that it's a complete system of medicine and a completely separate system of medicine. And maybe you can hear how passionate I am. I love this stuff. If you love this stuff and you're passionate about it, go do it. It is 4 years of medical school, of Oriental medical school, to become an acupuncturist. And then, of course, a licensing exam from the state, your state, just like any medical profession. So if you're a busy mom and you don't have time, it's certainly not something I'd recommend now. But if you're passionate about acupuncture and the medicine and Chinese herbal medicine, it's awesome. It's just awesome. Health and wellness in general, that's like a humongous field that a lot of stuff. So there's a whole wide range of types of businesses in there. I think, the thing is to follow your passion, whatever you're passionate about. And before you start any business, to validate, to make sure it's a viable business. Unfortunately, a lot of people start businesses and then get discouraged when it doesn't work. You need to validate that you've got a viable product or service that people want.
Yeah.
So I think that's the first two pieces of advice, is to figure out what you're passionate about, what you'd like to wake up every day and say, I get to go do this today.
Yeah.
And then validate that there's actually a business. Some things are hobbies there that you may be passionate about, and it's a fine hobby, but you can't make a business out of it. So I think those two things: find your passion and validate that you do have a viable business model. That's what I would recommend as first steps. Okay,
awesome. I love it. Okay, so tell us about your recent course launch, because I know you've had a successful acupuncture practice, and now you've actually you've launched an online course. Tell us about that.
It's called Eat Right Forever, and it's located at eatrightforever.com. That's where there's more information. And there's a really good educational video series up there right now. So one of the main questions I'm asked by all of my patients, even if they come in for shoulder pain or something, is what to eat. And I talk to everybody about their diet, because so many people are eating wrong. And even if they think they're eating healthy, it's not always, because, like we talked about with the fats, brainwashed by the propaganda. And so I like to do education with people and teach them what's really healthy. I live this stuff, and I'm pretty healthy for an old broad because I live it, and I have a lot of patients who are healthy and stay healthy that have been treating for over 10, 15 years because they follow this system. And there's such a need. And I'll give you an example. I had one patient who, she was one of my very first patients I ever started treating. She's still with me. We're good friends. And she asked me, I taught her over the years how to eat right. And she was doing it. But then a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, she was asking me questions about how to eat. And I said, why are you asking me this? You know this. I've taught you this years ago. She's like, I don't get it. I said, well, you had it. How did you lose it? She was reading stuff on the internet and magazines and all of the propaganda, and it pushed her off track. Shiny object, hot new fad. And she got distracted by all of that. And she got sucked into, FOMO, fear of missing out on some hot new thing, which will be gone 2 years from now. And she got off track. And so I told her again, taught it to her again. And she's like, okay, now I've got it. And now since then, the last couple of years, she's been following what I taught her. Her health is good. And she's in her 70s. And she's a happy camper she's healthy. She's got an active lifestyle. And that's, really what I want to teach people is how to get healthy and stay healthy. And I called it Eat Right Forever because once you learn how to eat right, you never have to worry about it again for the rest of your life. You never have to worry about any of the crazy fads or crazy hot new diets or whatever it is right now. It will change 5 minutes from now. And, it's once you learn how to eat right, you don't have to worry about it. It takes all the stress and pressure off, and you can do other more fun things with your life because you know how to eat right. And so that's what I put together, a complete eating program. And it's really teaches people how to eat right. We talk about the energetics of Chinese medicine and digestion because it's completely different. And once I explain it to people, it makes total sense. And if you want, I can give you a little taste right now.
Yeah, like I was actually going to say, so as a busy mom, one of the things that I find with myself and my friends is like we're tired a lot. We feel like we don't have enough energy. And so I would love to hear any tips or things that you would have advice on that area.
Well, it depends on how old your kids are. Babies wake you up at night. That's just, it's a fact of life. And when you have a baby, they're going to wake up at night. It's just how it is. And you have to do the best you can. And, do it while you're younger. It's easier when you've got more than when you're, that's not always under our control.
Right.
But I think make sure you get enough sleep as you can, especially when your kids are older. It's a lot especially if both parents are working or have jobs or businesses, and then the kids are older and participating in a lot of activities. It's hard. I think you need to do what you can to have other people help, carpool and things like that. And sometimes you just have to stop. If you keep going, it's like the Energizer Bunny. His batteries are going to run out eventually, so you've got to stop and recharge your batteries and take care of yourself so that you take care of them. So I think that's one thing. I think eating enough protein is important. And I don't know if this is a local Southern California thing, but I've seen this trend recently in the last couple of years. People are either doing paleo or they're like not eating enough protein. And that's like the oak logs in the fireplace. It's the base energy, that long, slow, even burn of energy. And you need to have that, especially at breakfast and lunch, right? You've got to put gas in the tank when you're using the car. So the typical American diet is skip breakfast or eat something, cereal with milk or something, carbs with no protein. Milk doesn't have enough. A salad for lunch, and then meat. At dinner, when you're going to wind down and watch TV, you don't need that fuel then. So I think one thing I would say is eat enough protein at breakfast and lunch. And how do you know it's enough? It doesn't have to be a big old honkin' 16-ounce steak. What we say in Chinese medicine is the size of the palm of your hand, right? If you're a smaller person or a bigger person, that will tell you how much protein. So just the palm of your hand get some at breakfast and lunch. Eggs have been wrongly demonized in the whole fat thing. Eggs are good. Yeah, preferably free-range organic if you can. But eggs are really good protein, and they've got the good fat in them. So eggs are great if you like eggs for breakfast. I was very excited to see when I went to China a few years ago what they ate for breakfast. And it's what a lot of the rest of the world does. The same thing they ate for lunch and dinner. There was stir fry and there were some dim sum dumplings, and yes, there was some rice porridge, but there was spicy nuclear red ground pork that you could put in it. It was fabulous. I'm salivating right now. But, there's protein. Protein at breakfast, and then protein at lunch. And a way to think about it, and I don't know why I use this dish, but everybody knows the dish beef with broccoli, right? You get a small amount of beef, it's sliced up pretty thin, and a lot of broccoli and a small rice bowl. That's a good way to think about constructing a meal, right? So, the protein about the size of your palm, plenty of veggies, and then, a small bowl of rice. Rice, again, has been wrongly demonized. That's a good thing in Chinese medicine. So, yeah, that's a good way.
White rice or brown rice?
Yeah, it's fine. The white rice has been demonized along with white bread. There's good reason for white bread to be demonized, and wheat in general.
Yeah.
Wheat is a big problem these days. And if you want, I can address that. But yeah, rice is fine. Any color rice, white rice, brown rice. I'm currently hooked on red rice from, I think a lot of it comes from Bhutan, but this red rice, it has a really nutty flavor. You can get it in Asian markets. It's fabulous and easy in a rice cooker. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for your time. How can people find you? How can people learn about your program?
Yeah, they can go to eatrightforever.com and find me that way. And
is it with a number for? Well, you're going to share the link, right?
EAT. I can pop it in. I think I can pop it in the chat right now.
Okay.
If I can figure out how to do this. Okay.
We can also do it after, but okay. So Wendy will put the link in.
Yep, it's in there right now.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here, and I learned a ton, and it was just great to have you be part of the group.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye.
And if you have any comments or questions, Wendy's going to be monitoring throughout the day, and she can answer your questions. So
absolutely.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.